Really
The
stealing it.
salt is real with
The
this
salt
one.
is on my tablet.
But,
So yes, Pettis versus Nate. Pettis was the favorite. I was very surprised when you first told me that last week. I don't think that he had the matchup favored towards him. I mean, he has the kicks, but as you told me in the Connor fight, Connor was trying to leg kick him in that second one, but he was checking him. That was something
Right.
Connor said, right?
But there's a lot of fighters and there's a lot of people that were on Anthony's side that were stating that they thought that he was going to embarrass Nate. Like Ben Askren said that Showtime's going to embarrass him. A few other fighters were saying that like the way Nate fights gives Pettis the amount of space that is needed, or gives Pettis the amount of the fact that he's not going to try to pressure him and take him down allows Pettis to use his striking more. And they all were saying that his striking is so much more elite than Nate's that he's going to clown him, basically.
Oh, that's just dumb.
Yeah, I don't think that could have been further from the truth.
Not at all.
But 1,092 days off for Nate, like I said.
Yeah.
That could be another reason why he was the favorite.
Sure,
Showtime,
that is a long time off.
recency bias.
Yeah.
Showtime just knocked out Wonder Boy, and he submitted Chiesa, and he had that amazing fight with Tony.
He's been on a great run.
Yeah, he's an OG, and he is starting to fight really, really well again, and that's why Nate wanted to fight him, because he respects that.
I just don't think you win a boxing match against Nate Diaz
Yeah.
unless you got an advantage over him in something.
Nate threw a total of 306 total strikes,
That's a lot.
landed 204 of them,
That's a high percentage.
67%,
Holy shit.
compared to Pettis, who landed 86 out of 153, which is still pretty good.
It's like half the numbers, though.
56%.
Literally half the numbers.
But yes, he threw half the volume. Of
And
Nate
less
Diaz.
efficient. Holy fuck, man.
Second most strikes thrown in Nate Diaz's career in a third round fight.
Do you know the first?
No, not a fan.
Yeah, you're a lackluster source of
But-
information.
This was the most strikes Anthony's ever absorbed in a fight. So you know how last week we were kind of saying, like, hey, he's going to do what Max Holloway did or what Al Kukui did, but better. And you're like, I don't know, Max Holloway, like, I'm fucking good. And I was like, yeah, I know, Max is pretty fucking good. But Nate did it. He really did.
God damn.
He fucking pressured him the entire time. And he almost finished him in the second round. He exhausted him.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple of times in the third round when they started scrambling, they got to the ground. Even in the second round, you can just see Nate slowly slicing through Showtime's ground game.
Sure.
Like, you could definitely see that Showtime knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, if that was anyone else, he probably would have got submitted.
Yeah. He had really, really good defense. And Nate's just, his ground game is elite. It's like
It's
elite
true.
of elite.
I think I heard someone said that Nate commented on that, saying that he doesn't think that Pettis' ground game is like really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just better than most, and so he was able to survive
Right.
at like a minimum.
Nate also said that he felt like he was rushing shit. Like he went into the first round and he was telling himself he was gonna fight like how he fights in like round 3 of a 5-round fight, because he's getting smarter about it. He goes like, "This is a third round fight,"
That's
and
true.
normally
Takes him a little bit to wake up.
he said every time I think that I'm putting enough pressure on in a 3-round fight, I end up losing a decision. So I'm just gonna start going in, balls to the walls, and start pressuring more like I should. And he admits he even got tired. Like, he got tired at the end of the first round, and
I
he
can
had
see
to
that.
like
Yeah.
force himself to just outwill Showtime. Which I'm surprised he got tired, but I would be surprised if he got outwilled. I don't think we'll ever see that. Like, he won't show that he's tired. He won't like show that he's capable of being broken.
Sure.
You know? But overall, you can tell Nate is taking this shit so much more seriously. He wants to win, and he's fighting. Like, he's definitely been training. He's not like just been saying he's been training these entire 3 years. He's definitely been learning and growing as a mixed martial artist. Because if you look at them in their primes, well, not necessarily. Look at Showtime when he was at the top of his career.
Sure.
With
When
the
he's
title,
champ.
when he was on the title run before the title, when he was knocking out Pettis, or not
Knocked
Pettis.
himself out.
He's knocking out Cowboy and Joe Lozon, and
Yeah.
submitting Gilbert Melendez and submitting Bendo and things like that. He was looking at this like unbeatable, like, superstar.
Right.
And at the same time, Nate was losing to decision fights with like RDA and
Yeah.
Benson Henderson and things like that. And then if you like at that time, if you put them two together, I bet you a lot of people would have thought Anthony was gonna fuck Nate up.
Do you think he would have? I feel like he might have at that time.
I don't know. I don't know. Just because of the style, because Nate loses to wrestlers
Sure.
who are good enough on the ground to not get submitted, and to just like kind of like
I mean, there's
that control where the fight's going, and then they'll win based off decision. I don't know if Nate would have performed the way he performed now.
I don't think he would have.
I think with everything that Nate has going for him now, and like the risk reward that he has, now he feels like he's fighting for what he's worth, and the fact that he has the stardom that he always wanted. Like, I think that definitely adds more pressure to it, which he thrives under pressure. He works harder under pressure. Yeah. So yeah, I would agree with you that I don't think that he would have performed as well as he did, but I don't think he would have necessarily got smoked. Like people were saying that we're just gonna make a fool out of him.
No, I don't think he would have got smoked at all. No, but Nate actually also said about Pettis that he crumbles under pressure. Mm-hmm. I think at that time there wouldn't have been a lot of pressure to beat Nate Diaz. Obviously now there's quite a bit more. I think so.
Well, but I also think he meant just like pressure in a fight too.
No, yeah, but
like not just the
peak
outside
showtime.
Pressure. Which that was another thing too, is Nate didn't really try to get in his head. Nothing. Like mentally before the fight, or he didn't go to the press conference. He skipped it. He wasn't trying to do like the Conor McGregor Nate drama before the fight, just to try to get in his head, because that definitely works, But he's like, fuck it, I don't need it.
Was that his reason? Did he say that, or is it just like not participating in that?
I just think he didn't want to. I don't think it was a tactical decision on his part. I just think, like, how Conor does his research to try to get under somebody's head, like big time does his research about history of the fighter, who they're affiliated with, everything.
Are you just talking about Khabib, that situation?
He did it with Nate too. He did it with Floyd Mayweather. He does it with everybody.
I think it just started with Nate though. I remember him doing that to like Dustin Poirier or.
He talked about where he was born and how he grew up and things like that. Okay. It wasn't near the attention to detail as what he did with Floyd or what he did with Khabib, but the risk of the fight was not nearly as near. Like,
I mean, you could probably just attribute that to the Conor McGregor cyclone that just kept getting bigger and bigger, like his ego, and eventually spiraled out of control.
Conor thinks of the mind games before the fight as part of the fight.
Sure, yeah.
And he's balls deep into it. And I think Nate doesn't really give a fuck about it. He's just himself and being himself.
True, yeah. It's not like he's like thinking about this. I'm sure he's not even premeditating most of the shit that he says. That just that's who he is and what he's thinking.
So like overall, I don't think the night could have ended any better for Nate unless he got a finish. Then at the end of the post-fight interview, everybody was expecting to call Conor out. He didn't bring Conor up one time. He's using his own stardom that he obviously gained the majority of it with Conor, but he's keeping it from himself, which I fucking love. And he calls out Jorge Masvidal.
Fucking crazy.
Which he said, like, quotes here. He's like, Jorge is a G. He's a gangster, but he ain't a West Coast gangster. And Jorge was just fucking loving it in the crowd. He's like, fuck yeah.
You told me about this. Again, your stream was faster than mine. He was like, holy shit, call out Jorge. I was like, oh, goddamn. And I'm like waiting for it to happen. And like, it shows Jorge in the crowd. I was like, oh, shit, he's there. What the fuck is about to happen? Yeah. It's WWE. But no, it looked like a friendly call out. Like, yeah, 2G's about to fucking
it was respectful call out. Like Nate was saying all up before this fight, he's like, I'm not fighting no names, or I'm not fighting people who just came in the UFC who have 3 fights and now they're like on top. And he's like, because I've seen so many of those motherfuckers come in, win 3 fights, become the champion, lose a fight, win one more, and then they're done, or something like that. And I'm still here. And people like Pettis are still here. He's a champion before, and he just knocked out Wonder Boy's ass. He was saying shit like that. And he said, Jorge's been here longer than me. And he's just doing what he just did against Ben Askren and doing what he just did with Darren Till. It's like, okay, like that's the guy I want to fight. He's number 1 hot shot. He thinks he's the shit. I think I'm the shit.
I feel like Nate's matured in a couple ways.
People think he's stupid. He's just smart as shit, and nobody notices it because he's not the best speaker or because of presumptions. And Nate's fucking killing it.
He is killing it.
I'm happy for him. And as far as the Jorge-Nate fight goes, I like that fight a lot for Nate.
He's bigger, isn't he? Jorge's not the tallest. So it could just run in a lot of the same issues that Pettis had.
Well, Nate is picking his fights wisely. He's fighting people that are relevant, that have been around, and that aren't going to take him down and try to GSP win, like a GSP-esque win against him.
Sure.
So, like, if he was fighting somebody
GSP
like
in the league,
if he was fighting somebody like Kobe or Usman, I think those fights stylistically are a lot harder for him to win.
I agree.
Opposed to somebody like Jorge Masvidal, who for a fact is just going to want to stand and bang with you.
It's true, and it's still an exciting fight either way.
Right. He don't
Two
give a
great
fuck
personalities.
He don't give a fuck about the title. He cares more about just fighting the people he wants to fight, who he deems are most exciting, and that's what a lot of the fans want too. So he's exceeded that you have to have a title to be successful. He's one of those few fighters that can actually do that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a respectable thing.
They asked him about Kobe because Kobe was sitting around with Jorge and all them too, and I guess there was a bunch of drama in that place, in that little spot. Dana was saying like they're a bunch of little fucking kids. It's like I felt like I had to separate them in little like kindergarten and shit, and just the impact of Kobe. He's a superstar in his own aspect too, not on Nate's level, but when he walked, they recorded him walking to a seat or something like that, and a Kobe sucks chant just randomly happened while there was fighters that were fighting in the fucking cage, and he has nothing to do with the event.
He is the heel. This is the picture he painted for himself.
Yeah, he's doing it right. He's doing it right.
Doing something right.
He's at the end of the day, like Kurt Angle said, like if no one's talking about you, then you're doing something wrong. If there are people talking about you in good ways or bad ways, you're doing something right.
I guess so, but I mean, I'm sure there are good ways to go about it and bad ways to go about it.
Good ways and heel ways. He's definitely being a heel, 100%. And it's
the shit with Misha Tate just bothers me. It just bothers me. He's being shitty.
I don't even want to talk about that. That shit was so cringy. It was hard to fucking watch. But this is a good show.
Pettis Nate fight. That's 2 fights in a row that completely live up to their expectations.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nate probably could have finished him, but Showtime's got hurt too.
Yeah, Nate even said like about the slowing down thing. Like he got tired, and then once he started like pressuring him, and he could tell that he was like taking the will away from Pettis. He just kind of like just went off like balls to the wall trying to finish him, and he said he feels like we kind of stayed a little bit more composed in those transitions on the ground. There wouldn't have been as many times where Pettis got out of those submissions or got out of one of those attempts, or vice versa with the standing. He would have been able to land more accurate shots.
I mean,
he still won clearly all around.
67% is pretty accurate.
300 fucking strikes. Gotta love Nate. Gotta love the Diaz bros. And my heart was good. I literally texted Dawn.
You literally said, I don't give a fuck about the main event.
I give 0 fucks about the main event. However, whatever
happens. How
happens.
dare you disrespect Daniel like that?
I had so much emotionally attached to Nate's fight that once he won, I felt happy. Like no matter what happens with this fight,